Okay, so now we are working on the third part of the test, or the third section, whatever you want to call it. We're working on monomials and how to get these particular sections right. I think the one on the test has more questions than this, but it's still of this nature. So again, work with me on the part A, copy down as I go along, really try to understand what I'm talking about. Then you do part B. When part B is done, do not go forward and do part C. Only do part B. Show it to me. Let me make sure you're doing it right. Then we can go forward. All right, so number one. First off, we're not multiplying or dividing here. We're just adding. We're adding a negative 4x and a negative 3x. Well, whenever you add, you get the same kind of thing that you started with. For instance, if I add Oreo cookies to Oreo cookies, I get Oreo cookies. I don't get escargot. So if I have negative 4x's and another negative 3x's, always peeking in front to see what it is, that altogether is negative 7x's. Now some kids might write squared. No, squared is wrong because we're not multiplying or dividing or raising to a power. When we're just adding or subtracting, the kind of thing we start with, we finish with. So notice x, x, x. Whatever we start with, we finish with. If I had one that said 2x squared plus 3x squared, I would get 5x squared, because I'm just adding these terms. I'm combining them. You get the same kind of thing that you started with. Now, number two is f squared to the fifth power. Now, to raise something to the fifth power means to use it as a factor 5 times. And in class, kids were able to realize or discover that we just multiply those things and get f to the 10th. But for some kids, when I say those things, I should say we multiply when we raise a power to a power. We multiply the exponents. Another way to do it is to do f squared times f squared times f squared times f squared times f squared. See, I use it as a factor 5 times, 3, 4, 5. And then, since I'm multiplying the monomials, the rule is to multiply coefficients. That's just 1, so it doesn't matter. Add exponents, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's f to the 10th. So whichever way you want to arrive at it is fine. Now, number 3, if you try to do it the first way, you have to remember the cube applies to everything, including the 2. If not, let's just write 2f squared times 2f squared times 2f squared. I don't want to run into the room for number 4. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then f squared times f squared times f squared, add exponents, f to the 6th. So remember, we multiply coefficients. That's when we're multiplying the 2's. And then we add exponents. Speaking of multiplying coefficients and adding exponents, negative 3 times negative 5, here and here. That's 15. Add exponents, x to the 5th. This kind of question kids were doing very well with on the test. That's pretty straightforward. Multiply coefficients, add exponents. Let's do it again on number 5, but the big thing we're introducing on number 5 is, do you remember that there's really a 1 on that A? 2 times 5 is 10. That's multiplying coefficients. A little reminder here, coefficients are the numbers in front. And then add exponents. 1 and 2 make 3, 10 a to the 3rd, b to the 7th. So 10 a to the 3rd, b to the 7th is it. And lastly, number 6, I'm dividing here. So I'm going to divide coefficients, subtract exponents. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Subtracting the exponents, c to the 5th. So 3 c to the 5th is the correct answer. I think I said 15 divided by 5 is 3. I might have messed that up when I spoke it, but I did write the right thing. Okay. Third section of the test completed and done.